occupied, but they're continuing to build.
Because they have not given us a letter on the plumbing rough. That is what that RMP stands for. That is for the plumbing rough, the plumbing undergrounds that is under the foundation.
Right.
And I'm sorry, I think I can help with what Councilman Rowland's asking. They submitted initial letters, but there was, like you said, they were saying like.
They were saying they inspected their own
inspections,
work.
see, what we're finding was there was a communication gap between what they said and what they meant and what we needed, and what we're doing is circling back and correcting those things, getting the correct letters for the file.
Gotcha. I understand, Mr. Mayor. My question goes back to like what we've been, I guess, trying to get resolved. This project has been ongoing for the last 24 months. This development has had people in it for about 15 months or less. My question is, currently, do you think it is okay for us not to have the RMP letter currently on file for the buildings that people currently occupy? And so that's the first question. The second
Let me
question.
answer the first one.
Yes, sir.
So that we stay clear. They submitted letters. Now, remember, back then, before council, just a few months ago, put Bureau Veritas in that position, they were submitting those letters to me with the dozen or so different hats that I wear. So I didn't see what Ms. Rogers saw about the wording. I saw a letter from a RMP, but I didn't know that the wording was not correct based on what needed to be said, based on, because again, I don't know what they do, but the city put me in that position and I was accepting, knowing we needed them, but not knowing that they were incorrect until Ms. Rogers and them circled back around with them. So that's why the initial wasn't, well, actually, again, it was done, but it wasn't worded the way it needed to be because of the communication gap. And that's what we're fixing. Councilman Wallace.
So, Ms. Rogers, when did you find out that the RMPs were incorrect?
We have never received an affidavit from it. Well,
So
we got
never-
inspection reports. We've never received an affidavit from the RMP. We received inspection reports.
Okay, so from, Mr. Mayor, from what you said there was a gap in terms of you realized that it was incorrect. When did you realize it was incorrect? And then after you realized it was incorrect, did you put forward the initiative to make sure that you got the right affidavit for the RMP if you knew that was incorrect?
I don't recall throughout this whole process because there's, I mean, even on this project and everything else I've been doing, so I can't give you a date. But it's just like the engineer letters were not worded correctly, so we had to circle back around and have them do that, which they've done. Now we're just working on the plumbing piece.
So you don't remember around what time the RMP,
I have no idea.
like it was a couple months ago? Several months ago.
I couldn't tell you because again, we received paperwork on so many different buildings, so many different projects, and the regular day-to-day city operations, so, no. Councilman.
I don't know if my question is directed to you, Ms. Rogers, or to the mayor, but I guess my question is, what part of the process should the city receive these letters? Is that like, as soon as I submit plans, when in the process are we supposed to receive these letters? I guess that's the first part of the question.
They should have been received a long time ago.
So, would you say at the beginning of the process?
No, it's not the
upon
beginning of the
completion
process.
of it?
It's whenever it was found out that they had already got 12 buildings on the ground with no inspections, is when it was offered to the city as repair, instead of ripping up all these foundations. You know, they had their engineers looking at the foundation. It's just the plumbing rusts were not inspected. And they, by codes adopted by the city and by the state of Texas, they're supposed to be inspected. This affidavit of fact from the RMP is just another avenue the city can go down to make sure that they are held accountable.
And is this something, using the customary industry standards? If this happens, this is a way of
It
getting a letter
depends.
on file like
It
we did
depends,
engineers?
that's what we offered y'all to do, instead of making them rip out all those foundations. That was something that we can offer. I have had some cities make them rip them out, but it's not been 12 buildings, you know, so.
So, Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
So council, I just want to kind of bring us up to where we're at. we've been said that we've discriminated against this developer, and that has not been the case. What was just communicated to you is that we, the city, made a decision. They had put down 12 buildings prior to inspection, prior to the process. We went back and said, hey, we wanted your engineer, so the engineering letter that we just heard that was received, we want your engineer to certify that those buildings, the foundation was okay. The first 15 months, we did not get that letter. We just received the letter that Ms. Rogers just communicated within the last 30 days. The second piece of what we're talking about is the RMP, which is the plumbing, which is why some stuff was backing up, because we cannot go on the inside of private property. The question, the city didn't go after the developer, because if they fail, we all fail. We're part of this community. The question is, after how long is it okay for the developer not to have to get the RMP, which should have been done 15 months ago, once we found out? We're at a place where when Ms. Rogers came to us maybe a month, 45 days ago, and communicated this to us one by one when we went through the buildings, we thought that now that was our start date. If we said we forgot about the last 18 months, our start date from when Ms. Rogers came before us 45 days ago and said that you didn't have the letter of the engineering inspection and you didn't have the RMP. We thought we would come today and receive the information like she just communicated to us about the engineering letter and about the RMP. The question is from here, so we don't have the RMP. From here, how do we move forward? The question is, what is the recommendation on why well, one, can you tell us why the RMP is important? Two, for council to get clarity on kind of next steps on what we need to do, since we have not received the letter that was appropriate, that it's been 18 months. So they've been communicated that we haven't received this letter, so we don't want people to think we're going after anybody. 18 months is a long time. And so we're simply saying, one, can you explain to why the RMP is important while we try to figure out what our next steps just on the RMP, because there's a lot more for us to talk about.
Okay, the letter from the RMP is just stating, in the state of Texas, only a responsible master plumber can pull a permit. Okay, he is the one responsible for the company and everything. He may have lots of masters on him, journeymen's, tradesmen's, or whatever else, but the RMP, that is one way to hold the RMP accountable for going out in the state of Texas and doing plumbing work and not having proper inspections. That letter will go in the file and state that he is the RMP, he is stating that he installed everything per state and local codes, and that he is the one held responsible for that work. Now,
And we did receive letters, it's just that because he put in the wording, the letters have been here for a very long time.
We're not talking about the engineering. We're
No,
talking
no,
about-
we're talking
We're
RMP.
talking,
We received letters.
we received letters on the plumbing, but they were stating that they inspected their own work.
Right,
There was
so
a
that-
communication
so that-
issue.
That's
not
that's
communication.
communication, those are
That's
saying,
not
that's saying
communication.
two totally different things. So saying that we didn't, we put the wrong wording there is different, saying that, hey, I did some plumbing and I think it's good, so here's a letter saying that. The whole purpose of the RFP, I'm presuming, because I'm not a professional, is that it's a checks and balances system, saying that, hey, this plumber did the work, somebody else went back and checked that plumbing to make sure the plumbing was sufficient. Is that right? Or-
No,
So, correct again.
no. What that letter is stating that he, as a responsible master plumber in the state of Texas, put work in the ground and did not properly get his inspections. But he is putting his license on that job.
So he basically admitting that
So he's
I
admitting-
did some work without
Without getting
approval.
inspected. Without getting inspected.
Correct.
But the inspection is supposed to come from a separate party, though. Is that right? I presume
It should have
that's
come from
right.
us.
Yeah, we should have, so where we at in the process? The city of Prairie View should have done all this process from the beginning. We have come back for the second or third time, which again, we could have made them tear it down and start over. We didn't do that. We said, no, we don't want you to tear down 12 buildings. We don't want you to rip up the plumbing on those buildings. The question is, we said we wanted to be good neighbors. Good neighbors was, hey, you need to go back and fix this. And we're saying 18 months later, we still don't have the letters on file that says that it's been inspected, which is why we had the issues we've had over the last 15 months.
So I guess my frustration is coming from the fact that we're talking about plumbing, and plumbing is the first thing that you do before you put the foundation down. And we started asking these questions
Yeah.
at that part of the process, and so the fact that we're 18 months later and we're just not getting answers. And, you know, when you listen to the complaints, the majority of the issues have been plumbing. And so, I think whatever the next step is, I think the council needs to think really hard, because, you know, 18 months is a very long period of time to not have come up with a better answer than, we don't have the inspections done. And I think as a council, it's time to really think and think about some action, because now we're setting precedent for developers to come into the city from here forward, saying that they can come in and they can build things, and people already have a stigma that they can come and serve our community with subpar things, or I can circumvent the processes. And if we allow the developers to come in here and try to manipulate how we do things in the city, I think we're setting a very scary precedent.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Wallace.
Can you speak to this one line on the back page that says, the pool is not permitted, did not go through plan review or any inspections, possible life safety issues?
That is, the one thing when I saw the agenda, y'all were looking at potential life safety issues. Having your plumbing not inspected in the ground, that is not a life safety issue. I mean, yeah, you may get stoppages and backups and leaks or something. Having your plumbing not inspected, yeah, it's against the law, but it's not a life safety issue. The pool, they did not permit the swimming pool out there at Panther Hills. They did not turn it into plan review. They did not have any inspections on it. To me, that would be the one area that may be a life safety due to your electrical bonding. And all of that's under concrete.
I gotta ask before we move forward, because how do we go from one part of the process to the next part of the process without making sure that the I's and the dots are crossed? So how do they go from doing the plumbing, because doesn't everything in the process have to be signed off before they move on to the next part of the process?
In a perfect world.
So,
Yeah, if the contractor's feet are not held to the fire and they're not calling their inspections in, what they did on this project when they got out there and got started, they just,
so the question is, did the city of Prairie View drop the ball, or did Bureau Veritas drop the ball?
we do not go out there until it's scheduled.
So
It has to make the schedule. And what had happened, they hit the ground running trying to fast track so fast that it caught the city off guard. And that's why when we went out there, the project, they already had 12 buildings on the ground. They were already starting framing, 12 buildings.
They had 12 buildings framed before y'all went out there for the first time?
Right. So this goes back to, well, Councilman had a question.
So, Mr. Mayor, my question go back to you when we asked to sign off to allow for students to move in, and you said you trusted the experts. Did you trust their experts? The experts of the project developer?
I wasn't in touch with their experts, so I don't.
So who experts did you trust, Mr. Mayor?
The
Because
fire safety
we're not
and
talking
the, no, hold on. You asked, who did I trust? The fire safety was a major part of what took place, and fire safety was signed off on by fire and safety experts.
was this fire and safety?
Mr. Mayor, with all due respect, by the time we get in the fire safety inspection, the buildings are already up. We're talking about the who did you trust prior to, because if it's just dirt, you don't have to worry about fire safety.
Well, I was told that they needed to submit a letter, and they submitted a letter. What we later found out was that the letter was not appropriate or correct. But it wasn't that they didn't submit one. It was my lack of knowledge as the city zone officer that we didn't have one. It wasn't until a few months ago that council hired Bureau Veritas for this kind of looking at the stuff.
So,
I was the city's zone and building inspector
right,
by
so my, all right,
no
I guess-
choice of my
I
own.
guess my question is, so once they submitted those letters, you know that, you know, you weren't a professional, wouldn't it be customary to pass the letter over to Bureau Veritas for them isn't that what we do when we get stuff, we get it, and we pass it on to Bureau Veritas?
They were not in that, necessarily that capacity at the time.
No,
I was just told, hold on, I was just told that we needed the letters, and I got the letters.
Right, so you were, at that point, you were just the building official, we've had Bureau Veritas
From the beginning.
since the beginning, they've been our inspector, so, you know, we all have our lanes, right, and we understand that I'm not a pilot, I'm not gonna get on the plane and try to fly the plane, I'm gonna let the pilot, so I would assume that when you get these letters, not knowing really what they were, that you would pass those off to the professionals, and so that's the big reason as to why we are where we are. It's human error, but it's human error that is detrimental to people's lives and their safety.
No,
Mayor, at this
Yes.
point, I would request a motion to go into executive session under 551.071, consultation with your attorney.
Go ahead.
I still want to talk about something before we go.
Yeah, I do too. I have a question too regarding, I'll stick to the paper though, if that helps.
I prefer to go into executive session at this point. It's up to you to make the motion,
Okay,
however.
pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.0415, city council members without having provided notice may make reports about items of community interest if no action is taken and possible action is not discussed regarding the information provided in the report.
I move that we go into executive session.
Second.
Per section 551.
071.
We're now